Today is a special day. I'm going to get to fly in my very first Carbon Cub, which you can see back here. This is Rod, it's his plane, and he's going to tell us all about how the backstory of this plane. This is a very popular Cub. It's called an NX Cub. And tell me about this plane a little bit.
Well, this is the nose gear version of the X Cub. So it's a little bit unusual, but I like it. It's a very capable plane. It's just as capable as the X Cub as far as landing in any kind of off-airport situation. And it has some advantages. Obviously, as being a nose gear, it's very capable for crosswind landings. It actually takes off and lands and stops quicker because when you jam on the brakes, you don't have to worry about it tipping over. You've got that big, rugged nose gear, and it's already in the takeoff position when you start to accelerate. So it uses hardly any runway at all.
That's the thing that amazed me. I've seen these planes around many times, and everybody tells me just wait until you feel the takeoff and how short you take off and how short you land. So what does this plane require to land?
Well, what does it require for me, or what does it require for a pro? Look, I think that a few hundred feet is really all I really use.
Okay.
I'm very comfortable in anything less than 1,000 feet, and there are plenty of people. There's an airplane that's very similar to this that landed on the top of a building, I think in Dubai. So
I think I saw that, the Red Bull.
It's a very capable airplane.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go for a flight, and we're not gonna do a 100-foot landing, but we are gonna go land on a grass strip somewhere that is kind of short. So here we go.
Okay.
My first impression of this plane is wow. This plane looks ready for adventure. With fat Tundra tires, it can land on anything from grass to dirt to gravel to even sandbars. And best of all, it's outfitted with all Garmin glass.
All right, how do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
And so tell us now, where are we going to go?
Okay, so we're going to fly to Lafayette Landings, which is a private airstrip in near DeLand, Florida, just to the west of Daytona Beach. They've got a grass runway that's, I think, around 3,000 feet is quite long, and then from there we'll fly to Williston. They've got a 2,000-foot strip. I'll just demonstrate normal takeoff, normal landing, nothing. I'm not going to hold the brakes and show off or anything. I'm just going to show you how this airplane normally performs if you just fly it routinely.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I put Lafayette Landings in, activating. So that's just kind of on the very edge of the outer ring of the Daytona airspace.
Yep, I was going to say it's very close. It's only like...
It's super close. Right. All right, so we're ready to go. Fuel. Flaps, lights, toga, trim, and prop is full forward. Smooth Creek traffic, Super Cub is taking runway 24. I'll be departing to the northwest. All right, I'm not going to stop or anything. I'm just going to accelerate. And I think by the end of those runway marking lines, we'll be in the air, or we'll be rotating. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We were able to rotate at the threshold and even were airborne before the numbers. That's some pretty impressive takeoff performance.
So this is a typical cruise speed here, about 100, 105 knots.
That's right. Yeah, at this altitude, I'm only at 1,000 feet, 960 feet. So if I'm flying at 7,500 feet, I'll see like 123 knots, something like that, 124.
All right, so the interesting thing about this plane, it has really amazing avionics up front. There's a G5 on the side, there's a G3X right in the middle. There's all kinds of equipment up front. But in the back seat, I have motor control and I have a control stick, but I do not have any instruments.
That's right.
So generally when you're flying this plane, the PIC sits in the front. And so this first flight, Ron's going to show me and demonstrate a grass landing. And we're going to do it even though the runway is 3,000 feet. Ron's going to try to land in comfortably short distance.
Lafayette Landing, Super Cub is 5 miles to the south. I'll be entering an upwind for runway 24.
And the Husky is departing on runway 16 right now. We're going to head out to the west and do some air work first. Have fun, guys.
So this runway is 2,600 feet long and 160 feet wide. Rod mentioned this is a private airstrip, but we have got their permission to land here. Rod's got a friend who lives at this airport, and we are a legitimate flight here today. We're not breaking any rules.
My flap speed is 70 knots, so I'm at 66 right now. I'm abeam the threshold. I'm going to bring it back to 12 inches. Prop full forward. 1 knot to flaps.
Okay.
So here we go.
You on?
So that was pretty impressive. Without really stomping on the brakes too hard, we came to a complete stop in just a couple hundred feet, and then after coming to a complete stop, we just took off, and there was still plenty of runway left. The avionics in this plane are quite an impressive set of Garmin glass, starting with the G5 on the left, the large touchscreen G3X in the center, and a Garmin autopilot in the lower center. With this combination, this plane is really capable of going anywhere.
All right, so we have arrived at the famous Piper Cub Cafe. This is literally right on the field. We just landed right there, and now it's time for a break.
So after a quick break for brunch, it was my turn to be PIC and sit in the front seat. So let's see how this goes.
All right, it is time to taxi, and this time I'm going to be in the front seat. So I can't really see Rod, but I won't be able to see the look of fear and terror in his eyes as I'm flying his plane. So,
I have full confidence in you.
so very exciting. My first time flying a Cub. Williston traffic, Super Cub 25 Romeo Lima, taking active 23, departing to the east. Williston. All right, we're at 2,500 feet. I want to start getting a feel for slow flight here. Okay, I'm going to reduce power. Yeah. 12 inches of manifold pressure. Prop is full forward. Airspeed bleeding off.
Traffic Skyhawk 75801, 3 nautical miles to the south, inbound.
Okay, there's 68.
Now
All right, full. Yeah, there you go.
1 notch of flaps. And now I leave manifold pressure down to 12 inches. Let airspeed continue to bleed off.
Yeah.
And begin my base turn.
Yeah, put in a second notch of flaps.
Williston traffic, Cessna
There you go.
4620, turning final for runway 23.
Now the most important thing is make sure that you are able to release it to go from 2 to 1 and 1 to 0, right? So that's important that you have that feel. You got to give it a little tug, and then it'll release no problem.
Right. Delta. And now say I'm turning final.
Yeah, you're going to go down to like 50 to 55 knots with full flaps.
Left base for runway 23 is going to be a
Full
touch
flaps.
staying in the pattern. Williston traffic.
And now 50 knots. I'm
Yeah.
52.
Right. And you've got full control. Give it a little bit of air on, and just kind of see that you've got nice control of that.
Yeah.
Even it won't feel mushy or anything.
Yeah. Okay. I just went from 2,000 down, pretending that I'm on final.
Williston Skyhawk 75801, entering 45 degrees to the left downwind.
You would be slower, obviously.
All right. I think I'm good.
Okay.
For cover here.
Yep.
I'm going to add power. How's it feel? Oh, good. The visibility is amazing. Yeah, the visibility is really good, but really easy plane to fly. Yeah.
So unfortunately, the interior camera overheated, but we did still have the wing camera, which gave us a great view of the landing.
Wow, that was amazing, Rod. Thank you so much. That was an incredible experience. Be honest, were you a little nervous when I was landing back here?
Not at all, not at all. You can't screw it up with this airplane.
Well, it really was a fun airplane to fly and a really pretty easy airplane to land. So,
yeah.
The impressive thing though is you actually built this plane, and this plane is kind of unusual. It's not like a normal Vans RV kind of kit. Tell me about the build process and the options there.
You could build, you could purchase it Part 23 certified, so it's a certified airplane. They build it for you, but we opted for the builder assist, where they slot you into the different stations to do different things. So you come in, it's basically 2 weeks of commitment. The first 5 days, you come in early in the morning and they start you cutting pieces of fabric. They're carbon fiber.
I saw these floating around in the hangar here.
Yeah. So you've got carbon fiber, you've got polyethylene fiber, and these go to different parts of the airplane. So you start cutting this in various shapes that they've already marked out for you. You start cutting tubes. You're bending tubes. You go to another station and you're stamping out ribs. You're going to the stations where they took these pieces and they've already placed everything into the molds, and then you release the resin into the mold. It gets vacuum sucked into it to make the hard carbon fiber piece. Like anything, the setup for all these kinds of things, whenever you're building anything, is most of the work. It could take 3-4 times as long to set everything up in the mold than the actual production of the part. Right. Which is just releasing the plastic in. You do the releasing of the plastic in. So that's how you can, or you press the button on the CNC machine to actually cut out your panel or to do all these things. But they've set everything up for you, which makes it very efficient. You just walk station to station, 5 days, you've made every part, then you leave. About 3 months later, you get a call, or they've already told you when you're coming back. 3 months later, you come back. It is mostly built, it's painted, it's covered. And then there's the finishing things that you're going to do, like hanging the aileron that you made, or the one of the wheels. Interestingly, you don't have to make both ailerons. You can make one and you get credit for both. You don't have to make both flaps. You can make one and they get credit for both. It's a pretty simple process.
But as far as the FAA is concerned, you have to sort of get credit for 51% of the build.
That's right. And they've mapped out with the FAA, what does 51% account for? And now I suspect that a lot of these things, they sort of assume the total amount of work that would have gone into this to make this part. The good news is you get to take advantage of automation. So if there's a CNC machine that literally automates the cutting of something that would have taken 4 hours and it took you 5 minutes, and all you really needed to do was hit the button, you get credit for that.
Okay, so once it's done, now with the Builder Assist, is this considered an experimental plane because you've technically built it?
That's right. Okay. So it is a Builder Assist airplane. They've done all this assembly, but it is an experimental airplane.
Okay.
It's virtually, it is identical to the certified airplane in every way, the fit and finish, the paint, everything that you see. Right. Now, if you made a part and you screwed up somehow, they'll throw that part away. They'll make the part for you to be perfect. Okay. So, but it's experimental at the end of the day, which has some options and advantages.
Exciting. That's exciting. I mean, I don't think I'm ever capable of doing like a real Vans RV kit build from scratch, but this one, seems intriguing.
I would send you off to build this. I would trust this airplane if you built it or anybody built it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Rod.
Yeah, thank you.
Like this video, you might enjoy this playlist up here. If you want to see what YouTube thinks you'll like best next, check out the video down here.